Hi, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
And we are Working Class Nerds.
We're the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Great, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me what you did this week.
So, I'm a student of physiology and neurobiology at UConn, and that's a lot less complicated than it sounds. I'll be starting as an emergency room orderly at a hospital nearby in a couple of weeks to make a little bit of money. And I try to set time aside to be a nerd as often as possible. I'm also big into craft beer, video games, and general visual media consumption. Right now, I'm playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, and in between that, I'll play some Shadow of War.
So, the whole ER assistant thing, does that mean you're going to be, like, holding people's blood down when they're coming in off the ambulance, or does it mean you're going to be scooping shit off the floor because some drunk guy came in and shit all over the floor? What's the difference?
Is there a C option? All the above?
So there's basically no option.
Yeah.
That's not out of the question.
Yeah, I'm like, any shitty job, literally and figuratively, in the ER, I have to do.
Well, that's good. So, that'll get you towards your career goals, right?
Yeah. But it's those patient care hours for good old PA school.
Sure. And so, you said Siege, Rainbow Six Siege. You play it a lot, or would you say a little?
Yeah, probably 3 or 4 times a week. I play for a few hours at night with one of my buddies on the paintball team. And it's, if you don't know what Siege is like, it's 5v5, close quarters combat, online mostly. I like it a lot. It's sort of realistic damage. So, like, one shot in the head and the person's dead. Not like Call of Duty where you might get a headshot in your burst of fire. If you get one bullet in the head, no matter what gun it is, insta-dead.
Well, when I play Call of Duty, I live by pray and spray. That's it. I just hold the trigger down and just go. Run and gun. That's it. So I don't know anything tactical. All right, so my question is what did you do this past week?
Oh, well, this past week was Christmas, so
yes,
obviously
was fun.
Christmas Eve I spent with my mom's side of the family, which was relatively tame. We play a couple different games. The one where you wrap up little gifts in saran wrap, and then you have to roll dice to pass the saran wrap. That's pretty fun and chaotic. People ripping saran wrap out of each other's hands. And then there's another game we play where you have to pass around a gift that's wrapped with a lot of tape, and then you have to try and unwrap it with oven mitts on. And again, you're passed around, and whoever ends up successfully completing it gets the gift. That was pretty fun. But other than that, the night was pretty tame. My father's side of the family, which Marcus is a part of, on the other hand, we get together on Christmas Day, and that was a much bigger comedy show.
Well, of course, because, when we get together once a year, really the whole family, and when we get together, it's just mayhem all the time.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of fun, and it's good to get the whole family together. I love the Christmas time of year.
Me too. So, Marcus, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a finished carpenter. I build custom cabinets, and that's really my day job. Married, almost a 2-year-old. She's the greatest thing on the planet, and when I get out of work, it's usually daddy duty to help mom out until the baby goes to bed, and then I usually hide in my office and play on my computer, which, whatever it is, until all hours of the night. I tell everybody I'm up until midnight to 1 o'clock, Sunday through Thursday, and on the 2 nights a week I can actually stay up all night, or that I should stay up all night. I go to bed at 9:30 with the wife. But I play Star Wars The Old Republic. I'm a part of the AIE Guild community. It's a great guild. They play on a bunch of different platforms and games throughout. But I'm really hooked on that MMO, and I just started playing Destiny 2, which I really love it. I wish more people, Nick, would get into it, but it's one of those games that you got to invest time into, and when you don't have a lot of time to play 2 games, one game really sacrifices. It's tough because you work for a living, or you go to school in your case,
right?
And you want to still do those things that we used to sit down and play 80 hours of Mario Kart or Final Fantasy VII for me. And I just don't have that kind of time anymore.
Right.
And I wish I did.
Yeah.
And I love Star Wars. And as this podcast grows, you'll learn that I have an obsession for Star Wars. I mean, and if I had my own way, you know, I would do this and play games all day if there was a way for me to make money. But I'm really good at building stuff, so I can't really do that.
Right. But, yeah, see, for me, the game that I would spend, obviously I'm a good chunk younger than you, but I would spend hours and hours and hours playing was Skyrim and then the first two Bethesda Fallout games, so Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I also really liked Fallout 4, but that was different. New Vegas was definitely my favorite. But I probably put a good 500 hours into each of those games, just in the summer times when I wasn't working. If I wasn't working on the weekends or whatever, I would just be playing those games. Just hours and hours. It was awesome.
It's crazy because when you have free time, and I'm talking pre-baby, right?
Oh, right.
I had all the time in the world. I remember before there was baby, anytime I had free second, Star Wars, The Old Republic. Right. And I would be on that until Carrie would tell me to get off.
Right.
Marcus, come on, you got to eat dinner. Or Marcus, you got to do this. And now it's just at a point where, you know, I know that, you know, 8 o'clock when the baby goes to bed, it's game time, you know?
Right. But every time before that, it's all baby all the time.
Right. So I wanted to say, you know, this is our first episode. If it's shitty, we're sorry. We're just a couple Greeks just trying to make some conversation and laugh about it.
Yeah, just a little entertainment.
Yeah, a little bit of that. So I know Nick and we went to the Last Jedi premiere, I don't know, a week ago. It was a Thursday before Christmas. I don't even remember. 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think it was the 14th we saw it.
Yeah, and I'm sure anybody listening to this has listened to 100 different people talk about how crappy the movie is, or
great the movie was, depending on which one you listen to. Or both at the
same
time.
Or how they wanted to eat the porks. Whatever your fancy may be. We just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about The Last Jedi, because we really enjoyed it. Or I know I did.
Yeah, me too.
Of course it had some flaws to it, but doesn't everything else in the world.
And just a quick thing, the mandatory spoiler alert, if for whatever reason you're somehow listening to this and you haven't seen it, stop listening or skip ahead, I don't know how many minutes.
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
I don't know.
We don't have show notes.
We don't have a show agenda yet. But I would just avoid this altogether if you haven't seen The Last Jedi yet.
Or tune into, I would say, the last 2 minutes.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about something stupid that
Sure.
you guys won't enjoy. So, all right.
Right off the bat,
go.
Initial remarks. So, on the initial crawl, I had skimmed through The Force Awakens prior to seeing The Last Jedi. And so I didn't have a good grasp of what happened other than my theater viewing 2 years ago of The Last Jedi. So I didn't fully
The Last Jedi, or did you mean...
Sorry, The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good grasp of the detailed plot of The Force Awakens going into The Last Jedi. So on the opening crawl, it says something to the effect of the First Order has, you know, basically had their way with the Resistance most of the way. And I didn't realize that at the end of The Force Awakens, when Starkiller Base blows up that system, that's most of the New Republic. Like, that's their hub, basically. So when that happened, the Resistance forces were really decimated. And I didn't gather that going in, so when the First Order was by far outclassing the Resistance in the beginning of the movie, I was definitely a little confused. I'm like, how did this whole, you know, galaxy-ruling republic, so to speak, get dwindled down into, you know, one fleet, basically, at the beginning of the movie. But if I had paid more attention, I would have known better, so...
So I completely got screwed at the beginning of the movie because I was getting popcorn while the opening crawl was happening. So I finally sat in my seat, and it was just as they were dropping down into space. And so I didn't miss any of the actual movie.
Right, just
but I had no idea that the First Order reigns, having decimated the peaceful Republic. Supreme Leader Snoke now deploys his merciless legions to seize military control of the galaxy.
Right.
I didn't see any of this.
Right.
So immediately, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? All of a sudden, they're fighting for their life, and how the hell did all this happen?
Right.
So immediately, I was angry. I was angry at the theater.
And confused.
And like, what the fuck is going
Frustrated.
on here?
Sure.
I'm trying to enjoy this movie that I love more than anything else, and I haven't even seen it.
Right.
Saw 2 trailers, that's it.
Right.
So now we get into the movie, and it starts, and immediately, obviously, you get into it.
Right.
The first part was awesome. It's always a great space battle or something
Sure.
to do with ships.
Yeah, the first little dialogue with Poe and I forget the general's name, the redheaded fellow, that is basically Kylo Ren's punching bag throughout the film. I thought that opening dialogue was great. It did throw me off a little bit that it started off immediately on a funny note, and overall the movie had a lot more comedy in it than I was anticipating. But I liked it. It was different, but I liked it.
But that was... do you think that's... No, I'm sorry to interject.
No, it's okay.
Is that Disney doing that, or do you think that's...
The directors?
The directors changing it up.
I think it's Ryan Johnson is the guy's name, the director's name for this one. Yeah, I think probably a little bit of both. Because, well, let's see.
Ryan Johnson, yeah.
Yeah. Disney didn't really put a whole lot of humor into The Force Awakens, so I don't think it's the studio. That was probably more Ryan Johnson I think Ryan Johnson also wrote some of the scripts with another person whose name I don't remember off the top of my head.
But it wasn't... But if we're going to compare, even though they're 2 separate movies made by 2 separate people,
sure.
But if we're going to compare them, The Force Awakens is almost I don't want to say an exact rendition, because it's not exact, but it's the same plot as Episode 4.
Right.
And that, I think, is a subject for another day, because we can talk about how it was made for the fanboys or whatever else, but
right.
It's still, how do I say this? They make it so that one movie is fanboy and the next one is completely different.
Sure.
I think the movie was great, both of them, but, in talking about The Last Jedi, Ryan Johnson completely took what Abrams did and threw it out the window,
yeah.
in my opinion. Completely changed it.
There's a really great... One of the first few shots when you finally get to go see Rey and Luke. I mean, there's some great symbolism to that when... one of the most climactic parts of the whole movie in The Force Awakens is the end. Rey finally gets to Luke's island. They found him. The whole movie is about finding Luke. She goes up to him. She gives him his lightsaber back, his original blue lightsaber that was his father's before, Anakin Skywalker's. And you leave out at The Force Awakens. That's it. And, well, more or less, that's the end of the movie.
This is the end of the movie.
Yeah. And...
roll credits. Sing the song, we're going to take a pee.
Right. Then you finally get back to Rey and Luke in that same exact position when the Last Jedi, in the beginning of the Last Jedi. And what does Luke do? He just hucks it over his shoulder. He throws it right out.
Right. No, and I'm with you 110%.
So I think that was, I think that was Ryan Johnson sort of saying,
fuck you,
fuck
J.J.
Abrams. Yeah.
Fuck you. Yeah, but
See
I
you
don't
later.
know why. And I don't know.
Throwing your ideas away.
Well, is it because of that, or is it because he wanted his own video, right? Did he want it to be his own, or is he pissed off that they didn't give him Episode 7, and that was his way of saying "fuck you"
right.
to Disney and everybody else?
Right. Well, see, I think, and I don't know a lot of details about this, but I did listen to another podcast that mentioned something about it. But I think Ryan Johnson has some kind of deal for his own trilogy in Star Wars, and I don't know what that's about.
He does.
I don't know if it's a spin-off or if it's...
No, it's not a spin-off. So he said that it's going to be somewhere that they've never gone before.
I'm hoping it's Old Republic stuff.
Well, I could only dream.
Right.
But I would, if they do that, and it would be smart for Disney, because then they would be able to tap into the lightsaber world.
Sure.
Because if the Old Republic game, which I am a serious addiction to,
yeah.
there's
Resident
lightsabers
expert.
everywhere, right?
Sure.
It's lightsaber heaven, and you can customize it any color crystal, blah, blah, blah. The options are endless, and with the Old Republic, it was all Jedi and Sith.
Right.
So the options are endless. But the one thing that says they're not going to go there,
mm-hmm.
and the reason why, in my opinion, they're not going to the Old Republic, because he says that they've never been there before. So maybe they go to the beginning of the Jedi and the Sith,
Oh,
maybe
way back before.
way
them?
back,
Sure.
or maybe they go 300 years in the future from now,
Right.
and Rey
And Poe and
and
Finn.
all them. They started. Rey starts in her own Jedi Council, or it's Grey Jedi, and I don't know. The options are endless.
Sure.
They can go anywhere. Disney throughout the EU, and so many people are pissed off about it.
Yeah.
And coming from a 35-year-old who read those books as a kid, that was the norm, because after 1983, the only thing we got was visual upgrades to movies.
Right.
And the prequels, well, everybody can say they hated them.
Yeah.
I liked them. I think
they
episode 2 was
pretty bad.
well, it was good, but they just focused too much on love. But again,
Yeah.
we're getting off the point for The Last Jedi. It's just, I'm trying to figure out the plan moving forward and how Rian Johnson got the job from Abrams. Because as far as I know, Abrams was doing them all. He signed up for them all, and then all of a sudden he's not doing them.
Doing the second one. And now he's... I think... I could be wrong, but I think they had a third director, but then the third director left for Episode 9, and now Abrams is stepping in and directing Episode 9.
So Rian Johnson isn't doing Episode 9.
Correct. It's J.J. Abrams now. So they're going back to Abrams. Which is interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I love all this stuff, but not having time, kind of, you saying this stuff is making me think, holy shit, I really know nothing. But
to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, I have stuff to talk about, but it's only the stuff I know about. I don't know about anything else.
Right, and the only... Frankly, give a quick shout-out to the Game of Thrones podcast I listened to, Storm of Spoilers. They had an off-season episode about that. This is where I got all my information from. So I can't really take too much credit about looking all this up on my own. But, yeah, so J.J. Abrams seems to be taking over for Episode 9. And so that movie seems to be a little bit up in the air, and that has people nervous. But, anyways, we can continue dissecting.
I hope he doesn't take now what Johnson did and throw it out the window, and now we have 3 individual movies.
Right. With
The
no
nice part
continuity.
about Episode 4, 5, and 6 was the continuity through it.
Right.
I hope whatever happens in Episode 9, it just continues through. But back to The Last Jedi, where we left off was, so the space battle's happening. You have the redheaded general.
Yep.
You got Kylo. And then you have Leia and Akbar all in the ship. And now, all
Leia
of a sudden...
almost dies.
Right. Well, let's not even go there just yet.
Okay.
Because that's a whole topic that I'm not going to lose it on. Right?
Okay.
Or
okay.
not lose it because I can understand, because that ties the...
Oh, anyways, let's get there
All
first.
right. So they're attacking the ships, and all of a sudden they're saying we're the resistance, and I'm saying to myself the whole time,
Yeah.
where did the New Republic go?
Right.
Because at the end of The Force Awakens, it was the New Republic, and believe it or not, the First Order was the resistance in that weird sense.
They were the rebellion-esque.
Yes, and I want to know. And I've been listening to on Audible all of the new canon books,
right?
But nothing links. There's no point in the books that says it went from the New Republic to the Resistance.
Right.
When, at what point in the last however long,
right,
did they lose the war? That's what I want to know.
Right.
And
besides the little blurb in the opening crawl. Yeah, you want some real backstory.
Yeah, but
that's not real backstory.
Right, it's not a real backstory, because in none of the books it says that.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out at what point that happened. So then, alright, so we get into the space battle.
Right.
Now they're going.
Oh, you mean the chase.
The chase.
Right.
So the bombers are going, Poe's a hero.
Right.
He's like, we're going to get them. They're losing all the bombers.
And Leia slaps him down a peg, literally.
Yeah.
And figuratively.
Right, but slaps him down, but he still does his own thing.
Right.
And now they're chasing after that. What was it? What was that called? It was that special... Their big ship.
Well, you mean the ship that they were attacking?
Yeah.
They called it a... not a frigate.
No.
Dreadnought.
Dreadnought, that's it.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, okay, so they're attacking this dreadnought, and they're trying to take down this dreadnought, and we don't really know what a dreadnought is, because we've never witnessed it, or even heard about it.
Right. The only experience I have with the name Dreadnought is from the old battleships from World War One. They called them dreadnoughts. But,
Okay.
but in the Star Wars universe, I've never heard of a dreadnought. You're right.
All right. So now there's no New Republic.
Right.
There's the Resistance, and now there's a dreadnought ship that we've never heard of.
Right.
I'm okay with that. So now there's a bomber, lines up above it, drops, let's call it 1,000 bombs.
Sure, it drops its payload.
Right.
Dramatically.
Now, in reality, if bombs fall out of a plane into space, those bombs are going to stop. The bombs are going to stop, right?
Well, weren't they near a planet? No, they weren't. They weren't very close.
No,
to the
so
planet.
maybe
There's no
the gravity
gravity
of the whole, I don't know. But so that's hole number one in the movie.
Oh man, I didn't even think of that.
Right.
That's a great point. Yeah, why were those bombs falling? Unless there's
And that's all credit to Scott.
There's no jets on the bombs or anything like that.
No,
it looks like they just fall.
They fall.
As, like a bomber on Earth would.
Right,
Just
so
blew my
some
mind a little bit.
scientist
My
is
mouth
going
got
to just
broken.
destroy us in a review someday. So, we get through that scene. They completely wipe out most of the Resistance. I'm going to call them the New Republic because I still don't know what's going on.
Okay, sure.
Right, so they wipe them out. They get away.
Yeah, their fleet's estimated. They have no bombers. Their X-wing numbers are halved, and they get away with their main ships, and that's about it.
Right.
And now, I believe the next scene is...
Well, we jump into hyperspace.
Yep.
And then they
that's
presume
right.
by using some tracking device in the hyperspace software, I guess we'll call it.
Sure. Yeah, they were able to track them
somehow, some way. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get into before even that, how did we skip over the Leia thing?
Oh, right.
So
Kylo Ren is looking like he's in a fighter. He hops in a fighter, is looking to attack the bridge of their lead ship for the Resistance.
and he knows Leia's there.
He knows Leia's there through some implied Force connection.
Okay, so now bringing it back to the Force.
Right.
At the end of Return of the Jedi, or in Return of the Jedi,
Yep.
and even Empire, it showed that Leia can sense,
Right.
has the foresight.
Right. Has
Of
a
the
little
Force.
bit of some kind of sensitive. Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
So now, keeping that going, so now Kylo shoots the plane down.
Yeah. Well, he was about to. He lays off, and then his wingmen blow it up. Semantics, yeah. But
It was,
he
didn't want to kill Mommy.
Right. He didn't. He had. He hesitated in killing his mom, and his wingman shot the bridge for him, blows it up. Leia gets blown out into space, and you see her lying motionless in space. She doesn't move. Everyone thinks she's dead, and then she moves finally, and she sort of just floats through space back into the ship. Taps on the airlock glass, saying, "Hey, you guys want to let me in here?" Everyone rushes over, blah blah blah, and then she makes it back to the ship, seemingly using the Force.
Okay, so bringing it back to my EU,
Right.
she was a Jedi.
Okay. Luke
And
trained her. Or
Luke
something?
trained her, a part of the new Jedi Order, and she was a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
She was trained to be a Jedi. She had children, all of that stuff. So now the next hole in this story is, at some point did Luke train her, because now obviously Leia's old,
Mm-hmm.
to know how to use the Force.
Right.
Because clearly, in order to do that, go into the vacuum of space,
You can't just.
you can't just do it.
Right.
You need to be trained.
Right. Well, see, that's tough because if we're going by the original trilogy rules and more or less the prequel rules, yeah, you have to be trained to do that. But in The Force Awakens, we see Rey seemingly knows how to use the Jedi mind trick on her own without having ever seen it before. When she's in those restraints, she says to the stormtrooper that's guarding her, "You will unlock my restraints," and then he does it. You will unlock the door. Why would she even think to do that?
Okay, so
You know what I
here's
mean?
the thing. Could she have... It's two roads. So could she have had somebody help her, Force Ghost-wise? Could it be Obi-Wan helping her? Or somebody through her years there of just telling her things she could do and she thinks she's crazy? Or
Right.
is it Disney trying to speed up the process to make fanboys happy?
Yeah, I think it's... I guess... Yeah, definitely option B. It's just Disney speeding up the process. But And I'm willing to let that go if that's sort of the rules of engagement, so to speak. If that,
Sure.
you don't need to be taught these types of things.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's fine. I was a little more frustrated with it in The Force Awakens, but now that we're in the second movie, seeing characters not directly learn stuff, that's not a big deal. You know what I mean? I'll let that go if that's sort of the rules of engagement. So if Leia is Force sensitive, then I can let it go that I didn't see her get taught how to move through space with the Force. You know what I mean? We also later don't see how Luke learned how to project himself. Project a figure of himself using the Force. So, but that's not a big deal to me, but it is definitely a criticism that I can see people making, and I think it's a valid one. That we don't see people learn how to do things with the Force that are new abilities in Star Wars.
Yeah. Okay. So she's gets shot out. She's flying in space. She comes back, knocks on the window magically. Leia's back.
Right.
We all thought this was Disney's way of killing her off.
Right. I thought, since Carrie Fisher's dead, rest in peace. I thought that was how they were getting rid of the Leia character. And frankly, I think they could have. And that would have been pretty bold to do it so early in the movie, but that was a pretty nice way of doing it. Plot wise, because then Leia doesn't make a giant impact outside of the end of the movie. I guess she has a nice moment with Luke, but
this movie was about Luke.
Yeah.
First one was about Han,
and the third one was supposed to be about Leia, but now it can't be. Not really, anyway. I guess
I don't see how it can be.
Right.
So all right. So now the Resistance gets away.
Mm-hmm.
Now they fast forward to Rey and Luke.
Yep.
Right. Rey, train me, Luke. He says, "Fuck you. I'm done with this."
Right.
Fast forward. Now, porgs are stepping in, and porgs are in, and you see these other creatures that are like the
frog lady,
caretakers
Maids
of the land.
Whatever.
And
Caretakers.
then they scroll over to a cliff, and you see Luke's X-wing floating underwater.
Right, and they just never touch that.
And is that? But so if you're looking at Rian Johnson, is that Rian Johnson just saying, "Hey guys, this is what could be," and get you hoping that every fanboy in the world wants to see Luke fly that X-wing again?
Sure.
I thought,
Sure.
That's all I thought. I was like, he's getting in that X-wing.
Right.
He's going to fuck some shit up.
Right.
His laser beams aren't going to work, but he's going to be there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But then as time goes on, you realize he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired.
Right.
Like, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And Rey's trying to get him to do it. So she starts essentially training herself on that island.
Right. Yeah, she's practicing her
bow
martial
staff.
arts.
With the bow staff. Yeah.
The mechanical bow staff moves.
Against to the rocks, and then all of a sudden
she's like, wait a minute,
I got an awesome lightsaber.
Why don't I just use this thing? And she slices the rock in half and demolishes the wheelbarrow full of rocks that the poor amphibian-like caretakers are trying to use to repair the hole she made in her hut there.
Right. So now my question to you is, so Luke sees her and says, "Okay, tomorrow morning."
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
I don't even know what they said. Doesn't matter. So now he's telling her to feel the Force.
And I thought this was a nice bit of comedy too. I thought that was pretty funny.
Right. But my question is, so all of a sudden there's the dark side hole.
Right.
My question is, maybe I'm just oblivious, but the dark side hole, it was the dark side hole. She senses it,
mm-hmm.
and then she snaps out of it, and rocks were floating and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Luke gets scared.
Yeah, so I guess there is, two sections of the island, and that underneath the island section represented the dark side, or was really dark force, and Luke was afraid because she went to it so readily and just was ready to explore the dark side. Right. Yeah, and I guess that's got to be Luke's Jedi tutelage, so to speak, kicking into where he just has such a negative connotation with the dark side that whereas Rey doesn't really know any better, so she's willing to explore all aspects of this new force thing. She's just ready to explore this whole new section of life because she's new to the Force. She knows she has a connection to it, but she doesn't know anything about it really. She knows the Jedi and the Sith and the dark is supposed to be bad, but she's like, whoa, this seems so powerful and it's calling to me.
But in The Force Awakens, she
Right.
could do a Jedi mind trick.
Right.
So there's conflicting.
She's
She's like, it's like a conflicting pattern.
She's experienced and inexperienced at the same
Exactly,
time,
so-
and it's a little frustrating for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just trying to wrap our heads around what's happening in the movie at the time. And mind you, I've only seen it once, so
Right.
I'm still in the wow factor. And you went the next day to see
I did,
this.
yeah.
So you have it with a
more
clear-
analytical sense.
Yes.
Sure. Right.
versus me. But seeing it that one time, I only saw it as, okay, he says he's going to train her. She is meditating, whatever you want to call it, finds the dark side. He says,
Go away from it.
get away from it, get away. And she finally snaps out of it. He gets scared. He runs away like a little bitch. And now she's like, are you kidding? So now she's curious.
Right.
So she jumps in the hole.
Right.
And then it's the mirror thing, which I don't get at all.
Yeah, that was strange. I didn't understand. Like, it didn't have a very good payoff as to what that was. Like,
Well, I think it was Johnson's way of saying "fuck you" to Abrams about making such a big deal about her parents.
well, it definitely was Johnson saying "f you," or at least misleading us. Well, there's that, and that whole scene was definitely mirroring Luke's in. I want to say, was that Return of the Jedi or no? That was in Empire when he was on Dagobah. Sorry, Star Wars nerds, I'm fucking it up. When Luke was on Dagobah and he enters the cave and he sees Vader and Vader's helmet comes off and it's Luke. So Luke enters a cave, sees himself, he's looking for answers, and at the same time Rey enters the cave looking for answers and sees herself.
Right.
So that's probably where the parallel is, but it's odd to me that they don't adjust. Well, that scene, her seeing herself for her parents is sort of like it shouldn't matter to Rey who her parents are. It's sort of like, I guess the Force saying it doesn't matter who your parents are. Stop being hung up on it. You know what I mean? From a character development standpoint, stop being hung up on who your parents are. Your parents don't make you. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it does because so this girl was just born
with Force abilities.
And her parents are nobodies.
Sure. Why can't that be? That's how Anakin Skywalker started.
He was so if we're gonna go there, he was made by midichlorians. Like he's he's the Virgin Mary or the Buddha's kid or whatever you want to call it. Whatever it is, he's the sun in the middle of the galaxy.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Oh yeah, did she say that he didn't have a father? It was supposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, miraculous conception.
Yeah, some
blah blah blah. Yeah.
Crazy thing.
So, okay, I guess that was a bad example, but the Force the kid who's Force sensitive at the end of the movie sort of follows the same theme, where you don't have to be a Skywalker to have Force powers and be a significant part of this universe.
Well, of course not.
Of course not. I think that's all that's this big takeaway with Rey is you don't have to be a Skywalker. This isn't about the Skywalkers exclusively.
Right.
Okay, so she goes into the hole. She snaps her fingers a few times, whatever it is, and she finds out that Luke, he exiled himself from the Force.
Right.
So she's trying to get him back, and she tries to tell him by Han Solo dying because of Kylo Ren.
Right.
All of that stuff. So now she's got, she's trying to persuade him to go. Luke's resisting, wants nothing to do with it, and then she finds out that, they need help.
Right.
And she's like, fuck you, I'm out of here.
Right.
And then...
if you're not going to help me, I'm going to try and convince Kylo Ren to help me.
Right, exactly.
And
which was probably one of my favorite parts of the movies.
Sure.
And probably one of my least favorite. But before that happens, they do the flashback to, how Kylo and Luke, how Kylo
that
went
conflict.
Bad. Yes.
Yeah.
So now...
came to be.
Exactly. So now R2 shows up.
I thought that was a really touching scene.
I cried.
Yeah.
I was teared.
I had
when I
tears
saw
in my eyes,
her,
for sure.
Carrie Fisher, as baby
Leia.
Leia.
Sure. I think a lot of people.
Yeah, of
started
course.
cheering
And
for
that
this.
was, her.
That's how it all started.
That was, well, right, but that was Disney's way of tipping their hat to her
Sure.
doing all those things because it's how it all started. And,
Right.
I think about Carrie Fisher and what she's meant to me. I mean, fuck, I was 15 or 13.
When you first saw those movies.
When I first started Star Wars. Maybe even 12 or probably younger, but really, I mean, we were out VHS tapes watching these movies.
Yeah,
every day
absolutely.
after school. And fuck, Carrie Fisher was my first boner. I mean, what the fuck?
Sure. That was a lot of people's first boner.
Exactly. So,
Millions and millions.
millions
Multiple
of men.
generations.
Exactly. Generation after generation of
Sure.
first boner.
Absolutely.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so Leia comes out, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, cuts out, we're all crying. It goes to, now, Rey is leaving.
Right.
She's going to Ren.
Right.
Kylo, or is it Ren?
No,
You
Kylo
know.
Ren is the last name.
I know.
Or
but
no,
like-
Ren is the last name. I don't know. He's Ben Solo is his real name.
Well, yeah,
Call
but,
him
you know,
Ben.
I don't know. I don't even know what to call him. They haven't even defined him, in my opinion,
As a character.
as what he is because he's so unstable.
Yeah, he's
Lost.
He's the epitome of unstableness. Look at his lightsaber. It's
Right.
not a solid form at all. It's like almost
It's on
lightning.
fire.
You know what I mean?
Or lightning. That's
It's
good
like
call.
completely like staticky, sort of.
Right. So okay. So Luke leaves. She goes to Kylo. He makes you believe that he's going to turn you in, and then
Just gonna turn to the good side. You mean?
No, turn her into Snoke,
Oh, right.
and he's evil, and we all get that. And
Right.
then you have Snoke attacking Rey,
Right.
trying to get answers, whatever.
Yeah. He ends up torturing the location of Luke's island and his planet out of her, basically.
And then, just as you think it's over for Rey,
Yeah.
Kylo turns on Snoke, which
I thought that whole sequence was brilliant. I thought that was awesome.
but that was why. But was it a mistake? Was it a mistake killing Snoke? So now Snoke doesn't matter. He's dead.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Right.
He was just. Was
See-
this The Walking Dead? Nobody matters anymore. You know,
Right.
the
Or
whole-
Game of Thrones.
or Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
or
just killing main
killing
characters
everybody.
left and right. Sure.
Exactly. So, but is that their way of saying, you know,
Another F you to J.J. Abrams. We don't. This guy who you.
or is Star Wars the way we know it over?
Right.
This is the new way Star Wars is going to be.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
where, you know, don't get tied up on these characters because they don't matter.
Right.
I don't know. So now you have, okay, Snoke's dead. That was the most badass fight ever.
Oh yeah, when Rey and Kylo Ren team up, that was epic. That's probably up there top 3 with my number 1 is Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan as a Padawan fighting Darth Maul in Episode 1. That was pretty awesome.
It was awesome.
And this fight with Rey and Kylo Ren teaming up against the, I think they're called the
Imperial Guard.
Imperial, yeah, the Praetorian or whatever you
But-
call them.
But Rey would never be. I'm not even going there. We're not
She
gonna-
wouldn't. She shouldn't be that so efficient with a lightsaber.
Well, it's not even that. She should never be able to beat the Immortal Guards.
Yeah,
Never.
they've been training like their whole life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so they kill Snoke. I'm devastated that Snoke's dead.
Right.
We've got no answers for that. We've got no answers because
Rey's
Kylo's
parents.
like, Rey's parents,
Sure,
you don't
nobody-
matter. They're trash. They're peddlers. Whatever. They sold
Right.
you for crack.
Sure.
Whatever that.
He said
may be.
drinking money, but he meant crack.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever it is, space crack, spice. So he's dead.
Right.
So now, Kylo Ren is the leader of the First Order
Right.
with the redhead, which we still don't even know his name because
We don't have a fancy dancy producer to look up little details like that.
no, there's got to be somewhere.
Yeah. Where
I don't know. Anyway, you know,
is it? It's not. No. The General Holdo is the lady with the purple hair for the Resistance. That's not
right.
her.
I don't even know. It doesn't matter. He doesn't matter.
Right.
We'll just call him Man with Red. All right.
Sure.
All right. So
Redhead. Okay.
Man with Red doesn't, is trying to take over, and then clearly Kylo uses the Force, throws him away, and says, "I'm the boss now."
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have that. So now
let's fast forward to finally Finn
Oh, right.
and Poe. Those two new characters. So you have Finn, who's been in like stasis.
Yeah.
And where I'm confused is, so the beginning of the movie shows Luke, and we're jumping backwards, but Luke shows Luke coming back and Rey handing him the lightsaber.
Right.
Okay, so that's real time. End of Force Awakens to the end of the beginning of the Last Jedi. There's no time that passed.
Right.
So that means Finn is
At the end of Force Awakens.
he was unconscious.
Well, not directly, because don't forget we see Rey go to that island. So in the time that it takes her to get off of Starkiller Base, regroup, go, because Starkiller Base blew up.
Well, he's there, but that's still
Right.
the end of the movie.
Right, and then she goes to the island. So we kind of see that time lapse where Finn is in the stasis pod and everything.
Right. So okay. So is he still in the stasis pod? Has no time really passed that she went to the island, and he's still in stasis?
Yeah.
Or in the time it took her to hand Luke the lightsaber and him throw it away and make us all laugh, did the First Order gain this magical power to decimate the Resistance?
Yeah,
Or the Republic?
I think. Yeah. See, I'm a little disappointed in that time continuity because I feel. Yeah, exactly. It feels like it's such a short chunk of time. Like they must have, I guess, decimated the New Republic /
how could they?
Resistance in the time it took Rey to go find Luke and get to the island at the end of The Force Awakens. You know what I'm saying?
So there's more time passed. See,
at
those
the end
are
of Force
things.
Awakens that...
Right.
Right. I guess
So-
I should... maybe it'll be more clear on a rewatch, but... Of The Force Awakens. But I'm not entirely
No,
sure.
it seems like it all goes. Okay, so now we have Snoke's dead.
Right.
Luke's there, but won't help Rey. Rey's there. Rey gets out of there.
Right.
Now
and
we
we have the
Finn.
whole subplot with the casino with Finn and Rose,
Well,
I believe her name is.
Finn.
Name
They
is.
realize Finn and Poe realize what's stopping them from getting there. We meet a new character, the mechanic Rose. Remember Rose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
So Rose, Finn does what Finn does. He runs.
Sure.
She says to him, "Hey, what are you
the
doing?"
fuck,
And
man?
he's
You
like,
can't
"Oh,
run."
I'm just hanging out." She's like, "Oh my god, you're a hero."
I thought that was a
I just tased like 50 people because they
Trying
tried to
to
go in
kill
the
me.
escape pod.
And he's like, hey, leans over in front of his bag. Fact, ready to rock. Get out of there.
And she's like, "You're trying to run. You're a pussy."
Days. Yep.
You're done, though.
Right.
Okay, so now he wakes up. He's explaining to her what needs to happen.
Right.
She figures it out, what they need to do.
She figures out how they're tracking him. They're like, hey, maybe we can stop this. They bring it to Poe. Poe's like, okay, yeah, Holdo's never going to let us do this. Go, if you guys can... Holdo's never going to let us do this, and we need a master decoder, decryptor to get you in there. So they FaceTime with... I forgot her name. Begins with an M. The yellow-colored lady with the spectacles from the... Remember they FaceTime with her and she's shooting everybody. She's like, hey, I can't get there, but I know a guy. Look for the red flower lapel. And they find the guy, but they parked illegally, so they get arrested. And they end up meeting
I feel like we should know her name.
Yeah, we should definitely know her name.
Is it Tally?
I'm just...
Tally. It's gotta be Tally.
We
No.
definitely should know her name.
We're such bad. See? We have no information.
Yeah. This is forking out the kinks.
Yeah, whatever.
Just
So anyways,
a little bit of amateur hour. Not too bad.
yeah, I don't really care. So everybody knows. If they're listening to this, they know who we're talking about.
Right.
So they make the FaceTime call, Skype, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Because the Android sucks. And
Generic video chat.
exactly, generic. We're not even going to say a name. It's just generic. So they make the calls. They say, you have to go to Canto Bight.
Right.
You need to find this code breaker who wears some fucking flower. What
Right.
man in their right mind is going to wear the flower on their shirt?
Right, a flower lapel.
Yeah, who? I wouldn't.
No, I don't need
No, maybe like a middle finger, or maybe like, just like a fist or something. Something manly, but a flower? That's, you're not
understand.
getting married. It's not like a wedding day and you're not in the wedding party.
I mean, I also... That's true. I also wouldn't have rocked the Pepe Le Pew gray streak down the middle of my hair like he did, but...
Well, whatever. whatever. So anyway, so they get there.
They get arrested.
They realize,
you know?
they realize. Oh, we see the guy with the thing, whatever you call it.
Lapel.
Yeah, the flower. What? No, the flower guy.
Okay.
Okay, so
You get
flower guy sees them, and his girl is like, "Hey, who are those people?" And then they get dragged away.
Right.
Go to jail. Now, they have DJ,
Right.
the underworld code breaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's Benicio del Toro,
Right.
right?
Benicio, however you say
Del
that.
Toro, I think his character's great.
I thought that was cool too.
I think
I didn't
like
really
this
dig this.
stutter.
I didn't like it at first, but it really grew on me quickly.
Well,
I
I
liked it by the end of the character arc.
Well, I think it fits Star Wars to the core because
Yeah.
Star Wars, there's different types of people and
There's
different
all kinds of quirky people,
exactly.
for sure.
So this guy leads them to believe that he'll help them, but he wants money.
Right. So
And
they offer him up some money.
all right,
He does help them. And
he helps
Yeah.
them and then fucks them
right.
right in the ass.
Yeah.
And my question is, how? At what point did he go? When did they tell him the plot? All they told him was they needed to break this code.
They must have told him the whole plan
At some point.
in between scenes. I think that's implied. I didn't find too much. I didn't object to that too much because you have dialogue of, the movie would be 10 hours long if you showed every single time a character explained to another character what the hell happened in the scene that the second character wasn't in.
I do.
I didn't have a big problem with that, but yeah, so they ended up getting captured. The plane, they got in, but they couldn't disable the tracking. They get captured, and DJ rats them out big time. So they're about to get executed by
The First Order.
right. I'm trying to think of her name, Captain
Phasma.
Thank you. Played by
I mean, come on. You need to know.
Captain.
I mean, come on.
I knew it was
I did
Gwendolyn
not know.
Christie.
Yeah, don't even worry about anything else. You just got to say Phasma.
So, Phasma is going to execute them, and I believe there's some kind of explosion.
Yes.
How do they get out of that? Oh, it's Haldo, I think. Is that when Haldo jumps to light speed
Yep.
and messes up the Snoke's ship? It is. So that's
at the end.
no. This is at the end. This is approaching the end
Yeah.
of the movie. So, Kylo Ren and Rey's fight finishes right at the same time that Finn and Rose are about to be executed. Haldo spins the main ship around and sends it to lightspeed through the First Order fleet.
And they get out.
Right, they get out.
Problem solved. Del Toro gets away. Everybody's safe. Moving on.
They get on. They end up escaping to this nearby planet named Crate. And it's that salt planet that looks strikingly similar to Hoth.
And it was just funny. Again, fanboy. The guy scraped the white stuff. You saw the red.
He goes,
salt.
Just to emphasize, hey, this isn't snow. This isn't Hoth.
But why did they have to go to another planet that had?
Well, it's all white.
Right. Exactly.
And
it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So I think we're covering it, but as we're doing play by play, but really we're just talking about the movie.
Right.
I guess where I'm going to say is, so we've seen all the characters now.
Right.
Down the salt planet. Magically, now there's only 50 resistance fighters left.
Yeah.
100 maybe.
No, less, because
right.
you got to think by the end of the
And
scene.
now they're talking about this distress signal that they took, and nobody's answering, and all these things. So they're all alone again.
Right.
And I keep going back to this one plot point.
What happened to all
What
of it?
happened to the New Republic?
Right. That whole infrastructure is just gone.
Gone. And, okay, so then magically these white crystal dogs,
Yeah.
they're like,
They're
look at
like
these
foxes
dogs.
or something.
Yeah, well, whatever. Crystal dog.
They don't even call them a real name. I don't know what the real name in the universe is, but they call them the crystal critters or something like that in the movie.
Well,
that's all they are.
Crystal dogs, whatever they are. I don't even care.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, they have to get out some way. So 30 people run out the cave.
Right.
and now they jump on the Millennium Falcon, gone. They're safe. But then before that, they jump on these, I want to say,
They're like
these rinky-dink ships that...
they're like sleds with rockets on the back, basically.
Oh, right, and they were like, oh, this is an old rebel base.
Right.
Okay, great. It's an old rebel base.
Right.
Perfect. I've never heard of this rebel base.
Yeah, me either.
Okay, fine. There's a magical hidden rebel base. The First Order's coming. They have a battering ram. Made me think of Lord of the Rings.
Battering ram cannon. Okay,
yeah, exactly. All right, so you got a battering ram cannon. Cool.
Right.
You know, you have a steel door. Of course, their battering ram cannon is going to blow it up.
Right.
Okay, your resistance base was made
right.
in 1852 or whatever it was. Okay, so now, so magically Luke shows up.
Right.
Everybody is happy.
Everybody's like freaking out.
Whoa.
Luke Skywalker, the Jedi
Yeah,
Master.
in this black garb.
Yeah, he's gonna
Pulls out his lightsaber.
It's the blue lightsaber.
It's the blue. Where the fuck is the green?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is the green?
That's what I said. I'm like, how does he have the lightsaber that was just broken by Kylo Ren and Rey? And then, I didn't realize at the time that this is obviously just a projection. And
we had no idea.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. So Luke comes out. He faces down the whole Jedi Order. Of course, Kylo Ren gets PTSD and says, fire every single gun we have on him and don't stop until I'm satisfied. They light him up, and of course...
The general's like, I think he's had enough.
Yeah, and Luke, like a badass, brushes the dirt off his shoulder like, is that all you got? So Kylo Ren has to go down and face him. They fight a little bit. Kylo...
Well, they don't even fight.
Yeah, Kylo just swings and misses a few times, and Luke's like, hey, man, if you kill me here, I'll be with you forever, just like your father. And Kylo Ren's like, fuck you. And, slices him in half, seemingly. I gasped in the theater, because I thought he actually did. And then did kill Luke, and that's how Luke would die. And then I realized, and then, he turns around and Luke's standing there fine. And I was like, what? I was completely confused. Then Kylo Ren stabs him in the chest, and you see it's just a projection of Luke. It's not really Luke. Cut to...
him sitting on the rock,
right,
Indian style, and everybody was like, well, he's the man.
Yeah. That was awesome.
And at that point, for me, that was the best Luke Skywalker moment.
Right. Me too. I thought that was stupid. That was awesome.
And if we missed some spots getting to this, sorry.
Yeah, it's first time.
Well, it's just...
Be gentle.
We're just two idiots just talking about a movie.
We're just a couple of working class nerds here. I mean, that's all we are.
Right. So you have the Force ghost, or not a hologram projection.
Projection. I guess projection's a good word for it.
Yeah. So everybody's freaking out in the theater. So this is what I don't know is how that killed Luke. If that used every ounce of him,
I guess that was presumed. Yeah, okay, it didn't really kill him. I guess it seemed like he was just exhausted. So he gets back up. You see him looking at the dual suns. That awesome moment.
So here's my question:
Yeah,
was that the real thing, or did he force project that to
second thing?
The two suns?
Oh,
to bring him back to Tatooine, give the fanboys what they want, and have him.
Oh, I
go off into the sunset.
Sure.
In the perfect way.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you can just presume that the planet had two suns. You know what I mean?
Or he projected it. Either way. So you have the Tatooine twin suns.
Yeah, great callback. And, he fades into the the Force. The robe drops, just like Yoda's and Obi-Wan Kenobi's did. So which leads me to believe he's going to be a Force ghost in the next movie. Eating Rey or something like that.
Well, he's going to have to.
Right.
I mean, Mark Hamill's the only,
actor
willing or alive to do Star Wars. And
right.
Disney needs Mark Hamill right now.
Right.
In my opinion.
I agree.
And something that we didn't have completely spaced on is Yoda's, cameo.
Oh, he was a puppet. It was great.
It was great, and his comedy was, there's nothing for you in there.
Right.
Because he already told Leia to get the book. Or Rey to get the books.
Yeah, Rey already had the books and took them out of there, which you see in the Millennium Falcon at the end of the movie. And, so she already had the books, and Yoda goes, there's nothing in that library that Rey doesn't already have. Right. Which Luke took to mean that she already knows everything in the books, but in
She
reality,
has
she has the books, so it's not a big deal. I thought
Right.
that was really clever. And
So end of the scene. Luke's gone.
yeah,
Everybody's, they show the Millennium Falcon.
yeah.
There's
Now
30
the
people.
Resistance is down to enough people to fit on the Millennium Falcon.
We're gonna call it the Fast 30.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do they go from here? Speculate.
Well, they have to probably to go see that lady whose name I'm totally just screwing up and don't remember. The yellow person with the
The big goggles.
spectacles. Yeah, the goggles.
I can't remember her name.
Right. But I think they go see her and try to recruit people for their cause and get some ships and stuff like that. And just, recruit people for their new resistance because they have to be
Maz.
Sparks. Maz. Thank
Maz.
you. Jesus. Up top.
Oh my
Thank
god,
you,
we're
Google.
we're- yeah, thank you, Google.
So I think they go see Maz.
Alright. We should have done that 25 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's all right.
So, exactly. So you have... Okay, so you're saying they're going to go find Maz, but what the hell's Maz going to do?
I don't know. She just seems like someone who has resources.
But
She's a go-getter.
for what?
Well, they need ships, and they need to just combat the First Order.
Well,
You
whatever. I mean, you can... see... I guess you can see where Maz is going, but... I don't really know. But if
Right.
if you have to go take a leak, I'll just keep going. Just
Yeah,
go
give me
ahead.
some more of your... What do you think?
Well, I think that it's come down to... I guess I could say, it depends on where Abram wants to go. If he wants to continue this story or not. Nick's got the bladder the size of a fucking pea. He can't hold his piss for shit. So... What I'm trying to say is, my opinion on this movie is it's great. Going into episode 9, they're going to have to tie all of this shit together. Because there's no way they're going to be able to take all of what Abrams did, all of what Johnson did, and then sandwich it all into one to continue a story. So it's almost going to have to, take some of The Last Jedi and just go forward. But I don't know where they're going to go with the Resistance. Do you feel better?
Oh my god.
I bet.
That was like DEFCON 1 or 7 or whatever the highest alert is.
5. So,
I think 5's the lowest, though.
whatever. So, I don't know where they go with this story in order to continue the path. Because now
Right.
we're left at the Resistance is nobody.
Right?
They're going to be on the run.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understood is they have nobody that wants to back them up because they said they had friends, nobody came.
Right, or at least everyone's too afraid or something like that.
Right, so
No, yeah.
they're going to go hide for somewhere. So this next movie is going to have to happen 30 years in the future.
Or something. Yeah.
But it can't because then Leia's dead. And
Right.
maybe that's the segue
Into Leia's death.
into it because,
Right.
I don't know, she don't look too young in the movie.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know how they kill her off because
Right.
in The Last Jedi she's still alive. She's the leader.
Right.
So they're going to have to...
Well, I think they set up Poe for a nice little character arc there where, like, he's a hothead and then he sort of learns that, like, okay, it's not always about blowing stuff up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
By the end of the film. And then... So I see how that could be like, okay, he's learned how to be a good leader and stuff like that for these forces, for the Resistance forces. So if they kill... Well, they have to kill Leia at some point in the next film, And so if they kill her, you can see Poe taking over pretty easily.
Well,
But-
I think that's a start of it, but I don't know. I don't know how it can.
I think if they jump forward 30 years or something like that, or 10 years even, 5, whatever, just they jump.
They have to. They
a
can't
chunk of
just
time
continue from here.
After it would be kind of boring just seeing them recruit. I think it wouldn't be a good story if you see them recruit more forces and then take on the First Order in one movie. If it was a TV show, I can see them doing that over the course of a whole season. but it's not. It's a one movie. You know what I mean? So you have 2 hours, 3 hours at the most.
Sure.
To tell this story. So I think if the logical step is to jump forward in time after they've done all the recruiting and maybe show Rey figure out how to build a lightsaber and so that she can start fighting against Kylo Ren and stuff like that. But I think they have to jump ahead in time.
I hope so. All right.
Let's wrap this up.
All right. So I'm going to say we're going to try to do this probably every 2 weeks.
Sure.
If we can do it more than that, we will. But I would say our goal is to put one of these out every 2 weeks. And if you listen to this shit show, well, we thank you. If we put you to sleep, let us know. You can find me on Twitter at Working Class Nerds.
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of
Working Class Nerds.